You know, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine isn't really a story about traveling to the future. It's a haunting look at what happens when humanity actually wins, when we solve all of our problems. It imagines a world with no struggle, no disease, no real hardship, and then it pulls back the curtain to show you the terrifying price of all that perfection. This is way more than just science fiction. It's a warning about progress, about class, and about the darkness we can create if we're not careful.
The whole book starts with this really seductive question. I mean, just imagine it. A future where we've totally conquered nature, gotten rid of conflict, and built a genuine utopia. What would we even become? That's the question that sends our hero, the time traveler, rocketing forward to the year 802,071. He's expecting to find us, humanity, at our absolute peak.
And that was his dream, right? As his machine is speeding through the centuries, he's picturing these intellectual and artistic giants, the absolute best version of us. He's expecting a humanity that's wiser, stronger, more brilliant than anything he could possibly comprehend. It's what we'd all hope for.
But the reality he finds? It's just wrong. Instead of these brilliant minds, he finds a race of beautiful but incredibly frail, almost childlike people. Instead of some gleaming advanced civilization, he finds these gorgeous but crumbling ruins. And instead of a stronger humanity, he finds a species that has a shocking, almost total lack of curiosity. The future is absolutely nothing like what he, or any of us, would ever have expected.
So let's explore this strange new world. The first thing the traveler sees, this first layer, is the society of a species called the Eloi. And honestly, on the surface, it really truly looks like paradise.
So these Eloi, they're our descendants. They live in a world that's basically become one giant, perfect garden. They spend their days playing, eating fruit, and sleeping in these huge shared palaces. They're gentle, they're beautiful, and they seem completely carefree. But there's something deeply unsettling about them. They have no art, no science, no ambition, and they have this profound, almost paralyzing fear of the dark. Looking at this beautiful, lazy world, the traveler comes up with his first theory. He calls it the sunset of mankind. And the logic is simple. Strength, intelligence, ambition, all of these things are born out of necessity. So what happens when you remove all the challenges? When there's no war, no disease, no hunger, no struggle? Well, humanity doesn't need to be strong or clever anymore. Perfect comfort hasn't led to a golden age. It's led to a slow, gentle decay. And, the traveler might have just stuck with that theory, a sad, poetic end for humanity. But then, something happens, something that just completely shatters the peaceful illusion of this world and throws him into a state of pure, primal terror. He goes back to the spot where he first arrived, and the one thing that connects him to his home, his only way back, has just vanished. The panic is instantaneous. He is completely and utterly stranded in the far future. And the thought hits him right away. The Eloi are far too weak, far too simple to have moved this heavy, complex machine, which means he's not alone. There's another power here, something that moves in the shadows, unseen, and whatever it is, it has his machine. In that moment, he goes from being a confident explorer to being hunted. Scientific curiosity is just gone, replaced by fear. He starts noticing these weird circular wells that hum with the sound of machines deep underground. And then, in the twilight, he sees it, just for a second, a glimpse of a pale, ape-like creature as it scurries back into the darkness. To figure out what happened to his machine and to understand what's really going on, the traveler knows what he has to do. He has to go down one of those wells. And what he finds down there is the horrifying answer to everything. He finds the Morlocks. The Morlocks are humanity's other children. If the Eloi are creatures of sunlight and leisure, the Morlocks are creatures of darkness and labor. They are bleached white from living their entire lives underground. Their eyes are huge and painfully sensitive to light, and they are the ones who run the vast engines that keep the world above going.
And this right here, this is the central, terrifying idea of the whole book. The traveler realizes the Eloi and the Morlocks aren't aliens. They're both human. They're the end result of our own class system. Ages ago, the rich elite, the haves, built a perfect world for themselves on the surface. The working class, the have-nots, were pushed underground to run all the machinery. And over thousands and thousands of years, that separation became permanent. Humanity split into two different species. But that's not even the most horrific part of the twist.
He realizes that the Eloi's paradise wasn't built on everyone working together. It was built by one class completely dominating another, a victory that, in the end, doomed them both. This wasn't progress. It was a complete failure of empathy.
Because that whole power dynamic, it completely reversed. The Eloi, they became weak, helpless, witless. But the Morlocks, who were still smart enough to run the machines, they're the real masters now. And their world underground, well, it doesn't have a food source. So on the darkest nights, they come up to the surface to harvest the Eloi. The former masters have literally become the livestock for their former servants.
The rest of the traveler's story is just this desperate fight to survive, armed with that terrible, terrible knowledge. But his ordeal gives us a few timeless lessons that feel more relevant than ever today.
So here's what this book really teaches us, boiled down. First, real strength only comes from facing challenges. A life with any struggle just leads to weakness. Second, a society that's built on exploiting one group for the comfort of another is an illusion. Eventually, the bill always comes due. Third, technological progress without empathy is not only meaningless, it's dangerous. It creates monsters. And finally, intelligence isn't a permanent gift, it's a tool, and if you don't use it, you lose it.
And these are not just abstract lessons. He learns them in the most brutal way. In his fight to escape the Morlocks, he's forced to rediscover one of humanity's most ancient tools, something the creatures of darkness just can't stand. Fire. It's his only weapon, the one thing that gives him a chance to get his machine back.
And this is where the warning comes crashing right into our own time. I mean, we live in a world of unbelievable convenience, right? Delivered to our doors by an army of people we almost never see. We enjoy all these comforts that are powered by systems and by labor that are, for the most part, completely out of sight and out of mind. Wells is asking us to look at that arrangement and wonder, are we laying the first bricks on that same long road to that terrible future? In the end, the time machine leaves us with this one chilling question. Is a paradise that's built on invisible struggle really a paradise at all? Or is it just the foundation for a future nightmare?